Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. Welcome to your sixth session of the Manifestation Club. Actually, we're already halfway through, which is pretty amazing that it goes so fast. My name is Marcos Pitre. I'm so happy to have you connecting with us today. And today we're going to talk about born to be a star. You know that you're the highest form of creation. You're God's highest form of creation. And one of the things that you have to understand, and not only you're God's highest form of creation, but you've been modeled into his image. Now, the problem is we model God into our image. And because there's so many flaws into our physical aspect where we are forgetting that our spiritual DNA is perfect. And we've got to connect back to that perfection and starting living from this standpoint. And this is what I want to talk about today. And I'm gonna talk about, again, the stick person. I'm gonna go back to it, that you understand how creation is made. But every time that you have a desire, it's because that desire is looking to get out of you. You wouldn't have a desire unless that you want to express this desire. For example, if I would like to be I'm going to take something like very crazy. Let's say I would like to be I say, oh, I would love to be a football quarterback. But the truth is, I don't really want that. So it's not a real desire. It's just an idea. I don't really have that desire. But if you do have a desire, let's say that you would love to sing. Probably you have some talent in singing. Now, they might be not apparent on the surface. Maybe there's a lot of work to be done to make that a reality. But they could be very much there. Those talent could be very much in place. And what needs to happen, it needs to be developed so you can start truly living from that standpoint. You can truly start living to be that star that you're born to be. Now, the first question will be, what type of star would you like to be? That is the very first question. And probably you got to go right back into what we talked about in the beginning is, what do you want? So maybe you would like to be a speaker. Maybe you would like to do some keynote speaking engagement. So if that's the case, and if that's a desire, if it's deep inside of you, then you have to understand that you are born to be that international star, which will do speaking engagement. Okay, very important that you have that possibility. So I see there's some people which are starting to tune in. Hi, good morning, Raymond. Good morning. What type of star would you like to be? That is the very first question that you have to ask yourself. Like, how do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself? And we starting from this standpoint. Now, understanding how our image works, because we all have a self-image. And as I mentioned in the beginning, that self-image is perfect, right? When we're starting in the beginning, you are perfect. Actually, your spiritual DNA is perfect. That inner center of who you are, that part is absolutely perfect. Now, that part has been buried into virus codes through what we call our paradigm. Now, if I repeat again, a paradigm is a multitude of habits that has control over your habitual behavior, and almost all of your behavior is habitual. So that spiritual perfection that you have inside of you, it's buried into those old habits. And some of those habits are coming from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 generations back. One of the story I love I absolutely love this story because to me, it represents the best what a paradigm will do to you. I remember I was with my mom and she was explaining how that to cook a ham, you need to cut both part of the ham before to cook it. And I was like, why? And she's like, I don't know. That's what my mom was doing. I was like, well, maybe we should ask grandma why we're doing this. So we went to see grandma and asked grandma, why do we need to cut both pieces of the ham before cooking it? She's like, I don't know. That's what my mom was doing. Wow, maybe we should ask great grandma and ask her why we're doing this. So we're going to see and ask great grandma. It's like, why should we need to cut both pieces of the ham before cooking it? She said, oh, I had a pan, it didn't fit in, so I cut both pieces, put in the garbage, and then I was cooking the ham. Now, 4 generations later, which was that my turn, 4 generations later, still doing the same thing and had no clue why. So this is what I'm talking about habits. Most of the habits that we have are not serving us, yet we are continuing doing the same thing because that's what we always done. So when you understand the perfection that you have inside and you are comparing this to, or you're utilizing that perfection, but buried into some virus codes, you're not going to be able to start expressing truly that true talent that you have, right? So it's very important to really reevaluate those things. And that self-image that you have of yourself, it's the same thing. That self-image, it's buried into virus codes as well from your parents, which might have said, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, or you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't do that, and this is bad and this is good. All of those things start forming your image. And we are starting moving forward with this image without never really evaluating if the image that we have of ourselves is accurate with where we want to go. So for example, if you want to be a politician and you have a very ordinary looking, for example, well, it's going to be very difficult for a political party to endorse you and start working with you, because the outer self-image that you have will not be a match with the image that the politician, the political party try to present. So it means that you have to start working on your outer self-image to match with your goal. And I love this because some of you is going to start thinking is that, yeah, but Mark, that's not being superficial. It could feel like this in the beginning, but what you're going to realize is the more, when you started working on your outer self-image, your inner self-image will try to do 2 things. The inner self-image is with the person with whom you're going to bed at night. And that person will try to do 2 things, either to catch up to try what you're trying to portray on the outside, or will like very, very strongly try to bring back that person, that outer self-image, what you're presenting, to bring that back into the inner self-image. Does that make sense? I know it might sound complicated right now, but I'm gonna help you to understand as we're moving along, okay? Now, there's a great doctor, psychologist, plastic surgeon, which have been working on this, and his name is Maxwell Maltz. And what he realized is we have 2 images. We have one image, which is the inner self-image. That is the image which is your deep self. That's the one that you're going with in bed at night. I'm not talking about your spouse now. I'm talking about the person that you're going to bed at night with. That is the person that you are sharing your deepest secret. That is the true you. Okay? And then that is the outer self-image. This is what I'm sharing with you right now. This is the person that you're sharing with the world. That's how that you walk, talk, meet and greet other people. That is your outer self-image. And the thing is, for the most part, and what happened when our conscious and subconscious mind start to be developed, there's a split in personality that happens. It's like our inner and outer self-image, there's a gap that is created between the two. So we are presenting to others something different than really who we are internally. And that becomes very interesting. So most likely, if you are not realigning those two at some point, one or the other will automatically start to take control. And because one or the other start to take control, you're not necessarily having control on your own life. And if you're letting your outer self-image dictate how you act and think and everything, most likely you will have those type of thoughts. Oh, I hope they're gonna accept me. Oh, like what are they gonna think about? Like, yeah, but maybe I'm not good enough for this person or for that person. You see where I'm coming from? Does that sound familiar? That is extremely important that we realize that. And for this, I'm gonna start jolting down some drawings, so you're going to be able to understand a little bit deeper what is happening and why this is happening. But it's very important that we understand that. Alrighty, so I'm going to use my favorite board, and that we are working with this because there's so much good into this that we need to figure out and make sure that we are all aligned with that concept. So we have, if you remember, we talked about our mind, right? So we have our mind and we have our body. Now, again, the body is an instrument of your mind. So your body, well, is attached to your mind. And now I don't know if you paid attention, but I'm not referring to this as the head, right? I'm really saying the mind. Now, what happened is when you are a baby, wait a second. When you are a baby, there's something very strange that will happen. And that thing is that I'm trying to do something. Yeah. When you're a baby, you don't have any conscious mind. So the only thing that you have as a small child is the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind as a baby is wide open. In other words, it's kind of a a glass, an open glass, and whatever information that comes, it's going right into it. So no matter what you're saying, it's going in there. And what it does, it starts forming part of your personality. Okay? And the baby has no idea, or no, how can I say? Oh, I don't think that we see the drawing I'm doing right now. Or do I? Let me know if you can see the drawing. We might be able to see it. Give me a second. Okay, perfect. We see the drawing. Excellent. Okay. So as we moving along, all of that information goes right into your subconscious mind. So it starts forming a personality. Now, when you arrive around 5, 6, 7 years old, now your conscious mind starts to get formed. And with your conscious mind, you start forming your own personality. So as some information went there, then consciously, you start deciding with your conscious mind. So with your conscious mind, you start forming some ideas. And this is how that you start creating that image of the person that you would like to be. But there's already an image of who you've been programmed from a very early age, which is already there. And a lot of people are taking two different directions with those images. So one goes in one direction, and the other, from their subconscious mind, goes towards another direction. But what is the true image that you have? And I wouldn't say like what's the true image, but what's the predominant one that you have? It's coming from your subconscious mind. So that one is really the image which is representing you. And that's really the image that we need to be changing if we want to change ultimately the outer self-image. But you can have the outer self-image helping you to change the inner self-image. I mean, that's what my mentor Bob Proctor have been doing. Is he started like to dress up every time. He started to always wear a jacket and a tie every single time that he was getting out of his house, because this way he was not seen as a janitor. I don't know if you know a little bit of his story, but Bob was a firefighter. Actually, before that he was a firefighter, he couldn't keep a job for more than a couple weeks. Actually, he said that he's got fired twice in the same day. Now try to do that. Try to get fired twice in the same day. Pretty hard to do. But he said that that's what was happening to him. So, and he had a very bad self-image. He was tall, skinny, redhead. He was always getting picked on. He was always the one guilty, no matter what was happening. He was always hanging out with wrong people. So he became to be influenced by his outer self-image as someone which was always in trouble and was a troublemaker and had a bad attitude. And that's always the way he saw himself. And for some odd reason, he finally got a job as a firefighter. And one man which saw him there, his first mentor, his name was Ray Stanford, saw him and is just like, you know, you can do way better than this. And Bob was just thinking, are you crazy? I mean, I'm a firefighter. Everybody wants this job. I mean, I'm set for life. Just, you can do way better than this. And if you do exactly what I'm telling you to do, you could have anything that you want. Now, Bob did not believe that, but he believed into what the guy was saying. So he decided to follow his lead. And he decided to just follow what Ray was saying. And he said, read this book. And he heard, because like he started to have a goal. And his goal was to have $25,000 10 years from now. Now he says, I never knew anybody who had $25,000. Now we're talking about in the 60s, right? So $25,000 was so much money. So he heard someone talking about cleaning floors. And because for him, like he had such a low self-esteem, he's like, I'm not proud, I can clean floors. And he decided to go and start cleaning floors. And he started with one office and a second office and a third office. And then all of a sudden, like he was working around the clock on top of being a firefighter. And then like he had too much job that he decided, okay, I'm gonna quit the firefighting thing to clean floors. And they were said, are you mad? You know, you're set for life, you have your pension and all those things. And he was just like, yeah, I know I'm mad, but I'm still gonna do that. So he continued there. And basically one day he passed out in the street. And he was so exhausted that because he was cleaning, he was working around the clock. So something came to him and it's just like, if I can clean them all, don't clean any. So he started dressing up and he started hiring people to work for him. And this way, he was changing his inner self-image by dressing up, by not being seen as the one cleaning floors, but rather as the one which was hiring people to clean the floors. So that is how that you can change as well your inner self-image from your outer self-image. Does that make sense? That's how he did it. On the other hand, another mentor I have, a sales mentor that I have, for him, what matters is the attitude. And the attitude is a very, very important component. And I'm going to talk about that later on into another session of the manifestor. But to him is the attitude, and the attitude is really a decision, an inner decision. So for him, for my other mentor, my sales mentor, for him is like, you need to change the inside before changing the outside. So it doesn't really matter which one that you choose to change. But from the moment that you make the decision, and it starts with the decision to make a change into your self-image, that everything will start to align itself and you will start to be able to live the way that you are designed to live, to become truly a star in your field. And what you will realize is your inner and outer self-image will align themselves. And that, my friend, is where you're complete. That's where you're feeling the most at ease. That's where you're feeling at peace. That's where the stress is not there anymore. This is why you're not pretend to be someone anymore. This is what you're always walking your path. You're not trying to please people to be accepted. Like all of those things that makes you feel like kind of weird into your stomach, you're not doing any of those things. Now, you don't become an ass, right? Pardon my French, but you're not becoming an ass because like you're two images are aligned. On the contrary, when you're like this, you're very humble because you know the work that needed to be done in order to create that synchronicity, that alignment. And in order to do this, there's some great exercise that I'm going to share with you that we're going to work on, that you'll be able to apply and integrate into your life. Okay, so let me go and just put this on the screen so we can talk about it quickly. And you're going to have this in your membership section. Okay, so don't get excited right now. I'm going to bring this into your membership section within the next 48 hours. Give me a second. Okay, so let me share this so you can see it. Beautiful. So here, if your external world is a mirror of your internal self-image, what is your external world telling you about your self-image? That is a very powerful question. If your external world is a mirror of your internal self-image, what is your external world telling you about your self-image? How would you describe the self-image you project on the outside world? Is it a true image of how you feel about yourself, or are there difference between what you project and how you really feel about yourself? You start seeing the two images which are appearing in your life. That is extremely important, you guys. That is extremely important that you understand that it's there. Oh, sorry about that. How would you really feel about yourself? Do you have a positive self-image, or there's room for improvement? Well, that's a very simple question. There's always room for improvement. Okay? Is your self-image a limiting paradigm, or is it empowering? What are the words, what are the message you hold about yourself in your self-image paradigm? In other words, what is your inner dialogue? That is very, very important, because often we're having an inner dialogue which is very self-destructive. We're talking about ourselves in a very negative way. I'm going to give you an example. I mean, just happened to me. I was really not feeling good. I was really, really sick. And if you would have heard what I was telling to myself, it was really bad. And I was really catching up on it. I was just like, why am I talking to myself like this? This is really bad. But often we are doing this and we're not even realizing that that's what we're doing. So you need to really take your time to start really working on your inner self-image and have those right thoughts about yourself, right? So I'm having some comments here. Jasmine saying yes. Spencer saying confident, true self. Previously, I was insecure and my inner outer image did not match up. Always room for improvement, that's for sure. Yes, there's always room for improvement on our self-image. As a matter of fact, your attitude and your self-image is a very good match. They are both pretty much a mirror. So it's very important that you're working on your attitude, and it's automatically will work on your self-image. Inner dialogue is so important. Speak life over yourself and of others. My confidence, self-image needs improvement. We all do. We all do need improvement. That is for sure. Like, it seems that there's a little delay between the slides and what you're writing, guys. Like, please be patient. What do you do? What do you like about yourself? Like, are you taking time to really look at what do you like about yourself? What is your qualities? What is the qualities that you're having that you really love about yourself? How can you bring these qualities out at work? How can you live these qualities more of the time? Would you like to improve your self-image? If so, call to mind a person you admire and respect, someone who has a positive self-image. Think about their qualities and write out a description in the present tense of the qualities they have that you admire. Now, take that description and totally relax, and begin to see yourself as the person, as that person. Act as if you literally become that person. Embrace this self-image. Now, you're not becoming the other person. You're still yourself, but you're gonna imprint those qualities. You're gonna imprint those characteristics into your own personality. Isn't it cool? Isn't it great exercises? I love this part. And when you start working on your self-image, when you start working on really improving the person and the qualities that you're having, and adding qualities from a person that you admire, the person that you're looking at their standards, and you're looking at how they're working, and you start embedding this into your own personality, you'll see your life's going to shift just like that. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So what is your question? How can I help you to bring this lesson home? Because that lesson is so important, you guys. You got to have a very good self-image, and you've got to be thinking about yourself the right way. Otherwise, you will never ever accomplish anything of significance, because you are selling yourself short. You're not providing, you're not there to really help yourself to succeed. You will be creating like some very important gap that later on you're gonna have a lot of difficulties to overcome. So it's very important that you are working on your self-image. So tell me, how can I help you to really bring this lesson home, and that you can truly make a change, a significant change in your life? Because remember, you've been created, you are God's highest form of creation, and you've been created into the image of God. So based on this, believe it or not, you've got that power, which is just right there. How can you utilize that power and bringing it to the surface and really start creating the life that you want? I have here, aside from following your destiny, purpose, and serving others to the best of their ability, what is your number one principle for developing my self-image? I believe like standards are very important, standards of excellence. But building a self-image is really like, use a model, use someone that really inspiring you, and start building your self-image around that person, and you will see everything's gonna shift. Like, I really admire someone like Elon Musk. Like for me, that is the ultimate business person. He's very disruptive. He's very intelligent, like brilliant. Do not go in the same direction that everybody else. Always try to be innovative. I love those type of aspect in this personality. And very much risk taker. Like he's taking massive risk, and he's not listening to the public and the common thought. Like he's really thinking, how can I make something different and create an impact that people can buy in? So I believe that that's the way to develop a great self-image. Is use a model, use someone that inspires you. When we have negative self-talk, we are not living our best life. Then we lose sight of our purpose. Absolutely. Like this lesson is very important indeed. Raymond is asking, if I don't have the means to dress as the person I want to be, what is something small I can start with? Well, I believe that this is a myth that you don't have the means. The reality of it is you do have the means. Like you don't need to have a $200 to buy a suit. There's secondhand suit that what you will need to do is there's some touch-ups it's going to need to be done on it. But if you are taking the time to buy something that really feels good, and it helps you to bring your genius to the surface, it helps you to bring that star to the surface, that is good enough for you to really start feeling good and helping you to work on that inner self-image. But if you don't have the means to work on the outer self-image, well, you can work on the inner self-image. Start there, right? And start feeling good about yourself. Do meditation, do affirmation. Affirmation is very, very powerful, guys. When you're affirming something, when you're repeating over and over and over again, this is how you start developing faith. Affirmation, faith is built with affirmation. Faith is built through repetition. So that's how you're going to do that. We are modeled after God himself. Our power is internal. Absolutely. And that's what I said. We are God's highest form of creation. And he made us. So what are you doing on a daily basis to honor that power that you have within? Now, your job is to bring it to the surface. That is your work. This is what you should be doing. Elon is the best, no doubt about it. What an incredible person to model after. I model after his way of thinking and work ethic. That is wonderful. Again, that's exactly what I was mentioning earlier, right? That is what you need to do. Is you need to take some characteristic. Like, for example, is speaking, when he speaks on stage, is terrible. Like, he's probably one of the worst speaker that I've seen talking and launching a, massive billion-dollar companies and stuff. He's terrible at it. So you don't want to take that aspect of his personality, right? You want to take someone else for this. But when you start building the personality and the image that you want to have, like for speaking engagement, there's great speaker out there. Like, I mean, I'm utilizing Bob myself a lot as a speaker because I love to look at him on stage. I'm enjoying this. I love what Gary Vaynerchuk is doing, other than the swearing and the angriness in his face when he's speaking on stage. But other than that, like, he has a very good charisma when he's on stage and the way he speaks. So that's another person that I would use as a model for this. But I have others that are way more powerful. What is his name? Simon Sinek on stage is absolutely spectacular. I absolutely love everything that Simon is doing when he speaks on stage. Like that is just like beautiful. So that's a model that I'm taking. So you can start utilizing this, like social media. I would use Dwayne Johnson. I believe that is probably an artist which has the best engagement and the best communication with his audience. The way he speaks and the genuinity of what he says and how he says it. So there's so many models that you can utilize to model your own the own aspect of the image, the outer self-image that you want to build, which as well goes with your inner self-image. That makes sense? Other questions that you have? Guys, I want you to really pay attention. I want you to really look at yourself in the mirror. And as you're looking at yourself in the mirror, what is the thoughts that are coming into your mind? That will help you and that will help you to see really what is your connection with yourself. How do you see yourself? What is that inner dialogue you're having? And often it's happening just by looking at yourself in the mirror. Like when you are seeing yourself, what type of thoughts are coming? It's very révélateur. It's very revealing when you do that. And when you're honest, you'll see that, oh, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I don't really like this guy. So what is it that you don't like? Okay, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like that. Okay, perfect. Now, what is it that you like? Because if a thought of you don't like, that's probably because you are in a negative vibration, that you have a negative attitude about yourself. And a lot of people have that. And if you have a negative attitude about yourself, you have a negative self-image. And if you have a negative self-image, you're attracting negative results in your life. Very simple. So you cannot manifest anything. You cannot bring money into your experience if you have a negative attitude and a negative self-image. You're not going to be a star if you have a negative view upon who you are. Wow, like I see Caroline there. She says, like, when I look at myself, I start to see my flaws. That is the reason that you might not have the results that you want. Right there. And all this starts with your self-image. If you see the flaws, it's because you're not having a good attitude. You're having a negative attitude. You're having a negative self-image. You should always see the beauty all the time. Do we have flaws? Maybe. Depends how you see it. Depends what's your perception. I don't see my flaws. Like, as a matter of fact, when people, if I'm getting pointed out, if my flaws are getting like pointed out at me, I probably gonna be like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I never saw that before. Okay. Now, does that mean that I'm not gonna work on myself? No, I'm really willing to work on myself. Like, I want to get better every single day, but I don't see flaws because my mind is not wired that way. This is why I'm getting good results. Does that make sense? It's a challenge to start saying things that I want to see as if it's already happened. Yeah, it might be a challenge, but that is exactly what needs to be done. That's what you need to do. You need to be seeing the beauty in you. You need to be seeing the beauty in the image, in the inner self-image, especially. So then you can bring that to the surface. You can bring that to the outer self-image. Any exercise to boost your self-image? Well, as I mentioned, like that's the question that are there that you're going to get from your membership side. That is how that you're going to be able to utilize that. That is how that you're going to be able to truly start creating a new image for yourself. And you're going to be able like to, you know, by asking those questions, by working on those questions, by looking at what you want to improve, that is how you're going to boost that self-image. Do you have specific affirmation you use every morning? I have 7 that I repeat every morning. However, I can always improve them, Mark. Well, if you have affirmation, again, one of my most important affirmation is what can I do today with what I have in place to get better? What can I do today with what I have in place to get better today? And if you continue saying this and repeating this again and over and over and over again, and just continuing to work with this, you will see at some point, you will get better. You will get more fired up. It cannot be any other way. And when you say, what can I do with what I have in place today? That means that you don't need to wait that this is happening and then, like, you know, the moon becoming red and the stars are shining and then the sun is behind you. All of those nonsense doesn't exist and is not necessary anymore. So you can truly focus and embark into this beauty of what you're working on, which is yourself. Okay. Having a great attitude is the key. Attitude is everything. Guys, attitude is everything. Attitude is the key to your success. I don't know if we did talk about attitude, if we're going to talk about attitude moving forward, but I know that we have a session on attitude. And it's the key. That's where everything happened. So, and your attitude, and we have an attitude about everything. Like even an attitude about like being on this call right now. Like I'm seeing there's 7 people out of the 100 which are inscribed into this session, which are their life. 7%, which is not too far from the amount of percentage of people that are successful in life. If you think about it, there's about 5 out of 100 that really is going to make it. Where's the other ones? They paid, they got involved, yet they're not there. Imagine that. Like it always fascinates me what's happening, but it never lies. Like results never lie, numbers never lies. So you got to show up. The very first thing you got to do is you got to show up. And what makes you not show up? Your attitude. What makes you not show up? Your self-image. No, I've got tons of affirmation that I'm doing. That's an entire ritual that I'm having. That I'm not going to go into details right now about this, but that one is a very important one because that one is always working at improving yourself, at moving yourself in the right direction. So this is why, for me, it's the most important one. That's the one I shared with you. Raymond is saying like, I am successful, like I am, like every time you're saying I am, you're connecting to the source, you're connecting to the your higher self, right? So that part is very important as well. You still can hear me, right? Perfect. Yes. Other questions that I can help you with before we conclude our 6th session? Guys, if you will only know the power that you have, if you would only know what you could accomplish, you would be shocked. It will literally astound you. But you're selling yourself short every single time. You don't trust in the power you have within. You don't believe that you can make it. So you are failing yourself. And that, for the most part, it's built into that drawing that I showed you in the beginning. When you are a child, this is where it's happening. It's not here, it's happening. It's truly at the child part. It's this part here, which is really messing everything up. Like what you've learned from your parents, what you've learned from I don't know, like whatever you learned in the past, whatever came into your subconscious mind as a baby, that came all here. Like through your parents, through the radio, through the television, through the neighbors, all this that came in there created an image that limited yourself. And what was important is what other people are saying. What are they going to think about me? You got to work on that part. This is the part where the work needs to be done. If you're working on this, if you're working on your subconscious mind, you will succeed. If you're working at changing those habits, you will succeed. And that is where the key sits. I truly believe personally that that's how you have to do that. And we are teaching this through our big program. Exactly how to work on your subconscious mind. What was your turning point that got you to move into the direction of success? For me, it was, for me, I realized that I was not a good follower. I was not a good listener. I was not like, following instruction really good. And if you're not following instruction, like for example, I give you a lot of information and value, but most people are not applying that. They're not utilizing it. They don't even show up. Imagine that. They're not even showing up. So because they're not showing up, well, they're not getting the results. But for me, it was, I realized, okay, I'm not following the instruction. I know exactly what to do. I have the guide, I have the manual, but I'm not applying the manual the way it's designed to be applied. I think I can do better. I believe I can do it better. Well, how did it go for you? How does it go for you so far? Well, not really good. So maybe you should follow. If it doesn't go as you want, why you're not following me? Why you're not following what I'm telling you to do? And that was, I realized, okay, you know, I've been stubborn. It took me 2 years to realize that. I mean, more than that, but 2 years into my business before I realized that. So maybe I should follow now and be a good follower, an intelligent follower. And everything changed and never look back. Now, the result didn't happen just like that. I needed to start creating that momentum. But as the momentum was taking up and picking up, and then it became better and better and better and better. And then all of a sudden, like, I would just realize, oh my God, you know, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. So that was it for me. A couple more questions if you have some. Yes, no, not sure. What time do you start your day? Well, when I wake up. And I know it's probably not the question that you want, but I travel quite a bit, and I'm in different time zone, and it's not yeah, that's something that, like, I'm trying to adapt right now. I mean, I'm working on adapting into this. But for example, when I was in Mexico, I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and I started working right away. And I was going all the way until 11, 12 at night. So it's not hard for me to do those things. But then one day during the week, I'm gonna have a longer night to recover the few hours that I miss here and there. So that's the way I'm operating personally. And the first thing I do is I read. That's the very first thing I do. Like, that is what I love to do first, is to read, to put my mind at ease, and to start getting involved into it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for connecting with the Manifestation Club. We are halfway through. Now, for the one who watched this in a replay, I invite you to be there live, because you can ask your own question. And that is the part which really you can get some very powerful insight instead of watching it into a replay format. I thank you for watching. I thank you for investing in yourself. And I'm looking forward to get in touch with you in the upcoming months as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.